really want to work with women that they can get to a place like me now where I'm completely in love with myself, in love with my body, and I'm really committed to being an inspirational role model for women. I got to that at 58 years old. I would love women to get that much earlier than that. So that's one of the reasons why I love to coach women through this process.
So welcome to Discover Wellbeing.
Oh, thank you so much, Alison. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you.
Oh, great. So people can land in getting to know you. What has inspired your story to be in this health and well-being space with a focus on women?
Yes. Well, I've always loved sport since I was a child. I was always in the sports teams, always jumping around. I had so much energy. My mum always used to tell me, got so much energy. And I've always had that amount of energy, enthusiasm, and sort of get up and go about me. So sports was the perfect place for me to sort of land. And I finished my schooling, and the obvious thing for me to do was to go into a sports college because that's what I love. So I trained in sports. And then I got into my first job in London, and I was just a sort of a sports manager working in sports centres like that. But it was connected to a prestigious London teaching hospital in Hampstead, the Royal Free Hospital. And I was really lucky enough to meet a professor and a doctor there who were particularly interested in women, older women, and how we could prevent falls. So I sort of geared the rest of my sort of career into health related fitness. So not necessarily sort of peak performance, but I really enjoy working. At the moment, I work with people who've had heart attacks as well, people who've fallen, who are very frail. So my passion has turned into working with older women, in particular in my physical coaching. And in my lifestyle coaching, I will coach any women.
Wow. Okay. So if you want to go into sharing the story of your world championship and the Olympic weightlifting, there will be, I will be adding the B-roll to the podcast that shows your amazing lift or two.
Well, I'd like to go back a stage really, because when I was in my 20s, I was a weightlifter, competitive weightlifter, and I was in the British team. I trained hard for about 8 years. But in that time, I never felt like a role model. I was actually embarrassed of my sport. I wouldn't tell anyone about it. And I did it for myself, really. And so it was a very different experience doing it 30 years later. So I'd really like to contrast the two, really. As a 25-year-old, I look at the pictures of myself and I had an incredible body at 25. And yet who I was in that body was, I'm embarrassed, I'm not good enough. I'm never gonna, my legs are too short, this is too wrong with me. So I never enjoyed it. I never enjoyed being at the really peak of my performance and my fitness as a 20-year-old. And it's almost like we'd say in Britain, like daylight robbery. It's like, how could I have robbed myself of those experiences? So that's why I really want to work with women that they can get to a place like me now where I'm completely in love with myself, in love with my body, and I'm really committed to being an inspirational role model for women. I got to that at 58 years old. I would love women to get that much earlier than that. So that's one of the reasons why I love to coach women through this process.
So was there a period of time where you fell out of that and into something else and then back into it?
Yes, I retired in 1994 and I sort of lived on borrowed time. I didn't really train, I just hung out, I just chilled out. And then gradually the years sort of catch up with you and you realise, gosh, my body's changing, I'm not training anymore. So I guess you could say I was sort of just a normal average woman doing a little bit here, a little bit there, eating a bit too much, getting a little bit more overweight, sort of a bit sort of stagnant in that sort of health and fitness areas still. I mean, I was very, very fit and very healthy, really, compared to a lot of people. I really did go downhill in my 50s. I I made an attempt to compete again at a different sport. I had tried CrossFit. I'd never tried that before. So I'd been training for about 6 years, and I was listening to the coach, and he was saying, jump off and off this box, on and off this box. And I was doing it. He said, do it faster, do it this way. So I did it, and I promptly just snapped my Achilles tendon in two. I heard it go. It just literally went like that. And my foot was just dropping. I had nothing left, completely snapped. And I was, that was about 13 years ago. So I was like, after that, I was in plaster, I was in a boot, and I was on crutches for a very long time. And I took a long time to rehab from that. And I was really scared that I would never get back to having, well, even just a normal body that I could rely on, and I could perhaps go for a run or just get into the gym a little bit, just like a normal level of fitness. So I think I made a few decisions from that, like, oh, it's never going to get any better. This is as good as it gets, blah, blah, blah. I sort of got a bit stagnant, and then I put more weight on. So I think in your language, it's, what is it, about over 2 stone, that's about 30 pounds. So I was about 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And then I distinctly remember the moment when I was on a personal development course with Claire Zamat, and we were looking at what can you not tolerate in your life anymore? And I just thought, I can't tolerate being this out of shape, unfit woman, because that's not who I am. I've never been that. And why would I just drift into that now, So I sort of put a stake in the ground from that moment and said, okay, I'm going to really start listening to myself. What do I want? What's the inner desire for me in terms of my health and fitness? And you do this lovely exercise, which I do in my courses as well, where you envisage your future self, like what's your future self look like? Who is she? Who she's being? And I just saw this amazing older woman in a bikini, looking great, and just loving herself and being wild and passionate and free and just being so at ease with herself and everything. And the second part I got from that was, I really deserve to be a inspirational role model for all women. And so that was the moment where I started to get back on track with my health and fitness. And I must say that journey was a delightful journey. It was full of joy. It was full of ease. I was using all the feminine power principles, which we'll hear about later, I'm sure. So I wasn't coming from the old-fashioned way of trying to get fit, like punish yourself, go on a diet, don't eat anything, it's going to be hard, all the old-fashioned way. I call it the old-fashioned way now. Old-fashioned way of sort of trying to get fit and healthy.
The masculine way.
Masculine way,
yes,
that's it. Yeah. Push, beat yourself up, and then finally crack and go back and start eating your biscuits again or something. So it was age 58 where I really had that big transform. I'm 61 now, and ever since those first few months, it only took me 3 months to lose the weight, to get in shape. Then I went to the gym for a year after that. I hadn't even thought about competing again. That wasn't in my mind. I had no idea that was coming. It wasn't like a dream that I had to always, get fit again and lift again. It just wasn't. It was not there at all. And it wasn't there until it was there, so a year later, all sorts of things started happening, but I'll go on to that a bit later, shall I?
Oh my gosh. So do you attribute your 3-month release of that weight and I'm not going to say it's effortless, right? But you just said it was joyful. So when we think of ease, we think of joy, right? I'd love to learn, because you mentioned Claire, and we want to let the audience know that we have Dr. Claire Zamet in common for the transformational women-centered coaching and facilitation that we do. But were you thinking of those things as you were going through the process?
Yeah. With the future self, it wasn't something out there in the future that I was becoming. It was, this is who I am. She's inside me. I am her already. I'm just waiting. It's just waiting to come out. So I didn't have to go anywhere to get anything. I just had to be with myself and know that that's who I was, who I am. I know it sounds very simple, but I just stayed aligned with her. So everything I did, it's like, is that, am I aligned with myself? Yes, I am. Would I want to eat that piece of cake? No, because this is who I am. And that person is there. I'm her already. So there was no effort or push to try to get somewhere. Obviously, you do have to have structures in your place, because you can't just carry on eating and lose the weight. So I did have structures in place, but I was able to reframe stuff as well. I remember distinctly feeling quite hungry one day, and I started to go into the victim role. Oh, I'm feeling hungry. It's not fair. Why should I have to feel hungry? Why should I have to suffer? And then just straight away, I just thought, let's reframe this now. Okay, I'm the one who wants to be fit and healthy and lose the weight. So what actually is this feeling I'm feeling in my body? Is it hunger? What is it? And then I realized it's actually my body burning the fat. So rather than thinking victim, I'm feeling hungry, it was creator, wow, it's working. It's burning the fat, and that was like, yeah, I really do want to feel hungry from time to time. Well, I wouldn't call it hungry, but that feeling of the body is changing and transforming. So that was one example of how I transformed it and stayed in the joy and the ease of it.
Then when was it that you had an inspired thought to compete again?
Yeah, so it was really lucky the way it worked, because the first 3 months of losing the weight was focused on the weight loss and just a little bit of training. And then I thought, okay, I'm in shape now. I'm in my the weight I want to be. So now what do I do? So then I joined a local gym, not weightlifting at all, just weight training. So I joined a gym and I got my structure of my strength back, and I got my love and my passion for feeling my body move with the weights. And I trained for a year there. And I just guess I thought I was just going to stay there and that was it. And then all these synchronicities started happening, and I got a call from one of our very old coaches who I hadn't been in touch with for about 30 years, and said, we're going to do a reunion of the first British weightlifting team from the late 80s, early 90s. Obviously, I was in that. I was like, going to do a reunion. So cut long story short, anyway, we had this reunion, and there was a few women still involved in the sport as judges, as referees, things like that. There was no one. Was there any? There might have been one or two just had lifted till quite a while, quite a long time into their 20s and 30s and 40s. But I don't think anyone was actually lifting or competing. And we sort of started chatting, saying, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if a couple of us started again? And the World Championships was going to be in America the next year. So there was about 5 of us. Yeah, come on, let's see if we can train. Let's see if we can do it. And so that was one synchronicity. Then the other synchronicity was little bit known to myself. There was an amazing weightlifting club in my town, 5 minutes drive from where I live, with a fantastic coach, Charlie, my coach. And what was the other thing? And then a couple of my weightlifting friends decided, because it was just before COVID or something like that, they decided to do a tour of the country, and they actually came to stay with me, and we were reminiscing about the good old days and blah, blah, blah. And then after those synchronicities, I sort of just sat with myself and felt inside like, okay, this is it. This is the next stage for me. So I went back in the gym went back in the weightlifting gym. If the viewers don't know what weightlifting is, it's an actual sport. So you'll see the lifts. You'll see the lifts I perform. So you have when you compete, you have 3 attempts of each lift. The first lift is a lift where you take the weight right above the head, called a snatch, and then the second lift is you take it to your shoulders, and then you get it above your head. So you've got judges in front of you. You have to put the weight. You get the weight put on, and you lift it or you fail it. So it's a very technical, competitive sport. So it's not bodybuilding. You don't have to look good. You don't train to look big. You train for your technique to lift as much weight as technically possible above your head.
Thank you for that clarification. Yes, I needed that.
And it's not powerlifting anyway. Some people say, oh, you're a powerlifter, which is when you squat and you lie on your back and you push the weight up like that. That's another sport. That's called powerlifting. But Olympic weightlifting is it's actually in the Olympics. You'll see it in a couple of, well, it depends when this comes out, but about July, August this year, 2024 in Paris, we have one women Great British weightlifter representing us called Emily Campbell, and she's already won a medal at Tokyo. So if you want to see an amazing British woman, and I know there's American women in it as well, but our one and only Brit is in it lifting.
Well, we stand for women. Just so.
So that's great. So I was a little bit nervous. I met Charlie. We had a chat. I said, I used to lift. I don't know if I still can. I've never tried again. So he got some very small weights out, very light bar. He filmed the session. He said, just have a go, see if you can remember how to do it. I'll tell you what, my technique was like 99% there. The body had not forgotten anything. It was amazing.
Trish.
It was amazing. It was an amazing session. And I knew then I can do this. I just have to train myself now in a different way, and not a masculine way, in a feminine way. I have to listen to my body. I'm over 60. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to injure myself. I want it to be fun, joy and ease and excitement. And I can honestly say I've been training for about 3 years now. So every time I go to the gym, I look forward to going and I have a ball. Even if the session is a complete disaster and I drop everything, and I can reframe it. I can say, it's my hobby, it's my sport. I'm doing it for fun, even though I want to be the best in the world.
I try to imagine as I watch the B-roll of being in your body doing it, but you were just meant for this. I was not meant for that. Yes. I think you are really meant for this.
I do. I really feel it's my destiny. And yes, I love the weightlifting, and yes, I love being good at it. But more important to me now is being that inspirational role model for women, to show that you can go for your dreams at any age, you can succeed, and you can have fun doing it. I think 90% of women wouldn't want to do what I do. I know that, but you've got to go within and find out, what way do you like to move your body? Are you a swimmer? Do you love water? Are you a dancer? Do you love to move? There are, like you say, inherent and natural desires in us that different movements and different things suit different people. And that's the key, finding what you love. Don't try and do it because someone else says it's the right thing to do.
And so now we get the opportunity of moving into the space of which you've blended both what you were cultivating for yourself in terms of using Claire's work, and now you do it for women. So to explore this, for anybody that is not familiar with Dr. Claire Zammit, she is a leading authority, an extraordinary woman who is bringing this opportunity of a woman-centered approach to coaching and facilitation, because we've been operating, let's say, under standards and systems that have suited masculine energy, and so we're not comparing that one is better than the other. They work in both. But if you want to explain a little bit about your programs, I think that would be really valuable.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the key distinctions in both my courses, because I'm really passionate about aging powerfully. I work with a lot of older people, and there's so much cultural rubbish about getting old, basically, to put it politely. We're just swimming in a sea of ageism. We are in England anyway. I don't know if you are in America. And you're most people are in a stress response to aging. You're either in a fighting response, I will not give in to it. You've sort of frozen with fear, like, oh my God, it's coming, but I can't do anything about it. Or you're just like running away from it as fast as you can. So there's definitely a lot of stress when we look, or if it's not stress, it could just be low anxiety. When I think about getting older, a lot of people do have this anxiety, and I do not. I have I'm actually looking forward to getting older, to being even a more inspirational role model. The older I get, yes, I can't wait.
Yes.
So both of my offers have a very fundamental thing in common, in the fact that women have been as well swimming in a culture of their body as something for people to look at or to care for other people, that whole thing. It is breaking down a little bit, but the key distinction I want to share, really, I know when I say this, I know people, well, anyway, I say self-love, but when people say, well, you can't just love yourself if you don't love yourself, I've been trying to love myself for so long, and I was like that in my 20s, and I just didn't like myself. I was never good enough. My body was never perfect enough. So what I loved, and some of the exercises that Claire Zammit has invented that we use on our own courses, is one where, when you think about self-love, how could I possibly love myself? You think about, well, who do I love? Do I love my dog? Do I love my cat? Do I love my daughter, my son? I have the capacity inside myself to love someone else. And then she talks about turning that capacity you have to yourself. So everyone has the capacity. It's just like getting in touch with how it feels to love another person, and then turning it towards yourself and seeing that you can love yourself. So I found that really helpful as well. The other angle I found really helpful in this was from another lady I follow, who's written a lot of really good books. I can't remember the titles now. Oh dear.
We can put them in the show notes.
Yeah. And she talks about your body being like your lifelong consult, I think she calls it. So it's your lifelong friend. The moment you come you're born into the earth, and you come out, you're with your body, or you're with your body in the womb anyway, aren't you? Mm-hmm. But when you come into your human form, and you're with your body, and it's like been with you from that moment, and it's your best friend. It never lets you down. It's or some people might feel it's let it down, but it's always trying to do its best for you. And some women can, if they get stuck with trying to love themselves and their body, if you see it as a best friend who's always there for you, no matter what you do, how you treat it, it's never going to go away. It's always there, and it's always on your side. Some women can find that's an access to self-love as well. And we do a lot of different meditations. I love doing meditations and guided journeys around bodies and our relationship to our bodies. So we do that, yeah.
Could you share the difference between your programs? Because there's the feminine way to fitness, and then there's amazing aging. So are they for different ages of women?
No, you could be the same age. You could do both. The feminine way for fitness is really people who want to have a transformation in their health and fitness. So it's really looking at the transformative elements. There's also education and information in there around, if someone says to me, we've worked together and they're feeling this desire to be in water, I can add the element of, what are the options in water? You could try synchronized swimming, you could try, so it's like I can give all the 30, 40 years of experience I've got around different sports and different movements to make suggestions for people, but it's really coming from inside what their desire is. So it's a sort of physical program as well as a transformational program. So you can I can give you information and support around your transforming your body and doing your fitness. So that's the fitness one. And then the amazing aging one, I've had some really different results from this one. Well, people have had different results from the course. So really it's about getting clear of all this culture around aging and realising that one of the big breakthroughs people first have is really realising and accepting that we're ageist ourselves. we're self-directed ageist. So when we suddenly realize I'm saying that to myself, oh, that feels a bit harder. I used to be able to do that easier. Or, I'm not sure, like
Yes.
we're ageist to ourselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's a real breakthrough for people, because they don't think they are, a lot of people. And then that gives you the power to just be with it, really. Just be with, yes, that, and then transform it. So have a new story around being growing older. Have a new story around it, and a powerful story, like vision your future self. So some of the elements are similar. So I would always vision my future self with fitness, with aging. Who is that future self? 5 years, 10 years, and then we go 20 years, 30 years. Who is that future self? And it's amazing that people see beautiful women. They don't see old, decrepit, whatever, the stereotypic story of aging. They see beautiful eyes and skin and glowing and movement and all sorts of things. It's really moving. So who that future person is inside you, it's your destiny. It's her. So you can fulfill your destiny, and then you need a pathway to let her out, basically, as you grow and as you age.
Oh, Trish, what's coming to mind is, as a yoga teacher and practitioner for close to 20 years, there are women in various lineages that you see, and they're still they're 102, and they're in simple poses, but you can see that eternal expression is allowing that beauty to come forth. Therefore everybody else sees the beauty, and then the collective, meaning the field, right? All this intelligence is just moving through her. And I think it's just, as you speak about her and giving women these opportunities. So is this an individual program, or do you do this in a group where collectively the women are witnessing each other and supporting each other? So share that, if you will.
I love to do it in a group. The majority of it is done in a group. We will have one-to-one sessions at the beginning to make sure the person is appropriate and suitable, and the course is appropriate and suitable, and they're in the right place to start. So we'll have some one-to-one work. I always offer a number of one-to-one sessions as we go along the course as well, because I think there is a difference one-to-one to group, and I think they're both equally important, and people need them at different stages, and I love to be able to offer both. But I love the group work. When you see people move from feeling ashamed or of their body to loving themselves, and there's not a dry eye in the house, basically. When people start sharing the breakthroughs around loving themselves and loving their bodies, and when they start sharing their dreams and passions about who they want to be as they age and what they want to achieve. And on that amazing aging course, I'm the health and fitness expert, but aging is everything. So we had one woman literally write a book and get her book out. We had one woman who had always loved art at school but hadn't gone back. She'd started painting. She'd already sold paintings, So it's in every area, whichever that area is that wants to come out. And I'm very clear that some people aren't particularly into fitness and exercise, but what it does give you is a foundation for you to build your destiny on. So if you have a destiny of being an artist, for example, it means you're going to have to stand up, you're going to have to eat long hours doing so you use what fitness would support me in becoming my destiny. Would long distance swimming really support me? Probably not. What would support me? Some Tai Chi movements where I'm just doing this for hours and hours because I can transfer it into my art. So there's a lot of cross connection there. You don't have to be a fanatical fitness, like me. It could just be, I just want to be fit enough and healthy enough so I can fulfill on my dreams. And my dreams have got nothing to do with health and fitness. When you truly love yourself and you're happy with your own health and fitness, and it's at the level you want it to be, you do it is exude a sort of confidence in yourself, which transfers over to other. It also, another big thing that a lot of women find is the amount of energy and vitality that they have. So if you can get your base level health and fitness up to a level that's really functional for you, you've got more energy to put into whatever you're working on or dreaming of. So it's that functional, it's like a stepping stone almost, isn't it? Yeah, it helps you up to the next level. And a lot of people start off not really enjoying health and fitness necessarily, and then they decide they do actually enjoy it, and they go off on different tangents and actually become a lot fitter, a lot fitter and healthier than they actually sort of almost thought they would be in the first place. So a bit like me in my weightlifting, I didn't know, I thought I was just going to get fit and healthy. I didn't know I was going to start training again. As you go along in your journey, new things open up, don't they? New avenues, new possibilities, synchronicities. You might suddenly fall in love with yoga or something. You've never tried it, It's great.
I love this for you and for all the women that you serve. And is there anything else you'd like to share or mention about your program or where people can find you?
Well, if you're interested in having a conversation with me, just go to TrishTenn.com, which is my website, and there's a form on there that you can fill in, and then I'll give you a ring and we'll have a chat about things. The courses that I do have a start and a finish date. At the moment, I just wait until I have enough people to start the next one. So I don't tend to run lots together. I just sort of start one, finish one, and wait till the next one starts. That might change in the future, but that's how I do it at the moment. And coaching, one-to-one coaching is available anytime, so you just need to contact me for that.
I think I said this in the beginning. I'm in awe of you, and I'm with you, sister. This is an opportunity for women to see aging in a new light and through a new frame, right? We can see aging like a door, a pathway, as you said, to realizing our destiny.
Yeah,
becoming our greatness.
Lovely. Well said. Yeah, well said. Lovely, Alison.
Oh, well, thank you again. We will make sure to include the links in the show notes so they can find you. Stay well.
Thank you so much, Alison. It's been a pleasure.